So the first triad I'm going to start with is actually the head triad, 5, 6, and 7. And when we think about the motivations of the 5, 6, and the 7, I want you to remember that each of these numbers express, especially from brain function, a completely different version or orientation to words that synonymously are spoken in a similar language or a dialect, but the particular type of engagement is going to be nuanced. For instance, if I talk about impulse control, the left brain is the one that actually does impulse control. The 5, if you think about most stoic 5 energy, are they excessive in their lack of impulse control? Are they excessive energy and they don't restrain themselves? Or are they excess restrained and they're able to restrain themselves in significantly effective ways? Now, if you look at a 7, is a 7 excess energy or decreased energy generally and stereotypically? What is their relationship with impulsivity and impulse control? So impulse control as a genre, as a brain function, is done in the left brain. But when you look at the difference between a 5 and a 7, it's pretty easy to see that a 5 is really, really gifted and stronger in impulse control in comparison to a 7 in most situations. And we won't go into it for the sake of this video, but it offers some really fascinating insights as to why a 7 interacts with a 5 the way that it does, because sometimes a 5 needs to celebrate in a 7 space, and a 7 needs to be able to rein themselves in and restrain themselves in that 5 space. So just something to think about there. So when we talk about the motivations of a 5, I want you to realize that a 5 is seeking out and is motivated by having and finding clarity. Now, when we talk about all the motivations, I want you to realize you can go to thesaurus.com, look at any of the words that I give you, and not only find synonyms that resonate a little bit more effectively for you, but also scroll down to the bottom of the page and look at the antonym. Think, when this word is absent, when the opposite of this word shows up, could that be a trigger for me? Well, when you're in a 5 space and you're like, I need data, I need clarity, I need insight, and somebody removes that from your life and they introduce ambiguity or incompetence, what happens for you? So the motivation of a 5 is seeking clarity, and as a result of exercising that skill on a regular basis and exercising that muscle and learning how to speak that language, you're going to naturally develop the gift of insight. So what happens for a 5 is they're able to see things more clearly. They're able to see things that other people don't see because they can see through things. And also remember, every blessing offers its curse. So sometimes what a 5 ends up seeing is something that's not there, and they don't feel like what they see is enough for them to feel safe. So in all of these spaces, we're talking about a Goldilocks phenomenon. When you're talking about your motivation or your gift or your type or your brain function or your expression as a human being, it can be too much, too little, or just right. And that just right or that too much or that too little is going to be relative to your lived experience and relative to the moment by moment encounters that you have as a person. But 5, motivated by clarity, and their gift is insight. For a 6 is motivated and is seeking guarantees. What can I find that's concrete and stable and reliable and trustworthy? The absence of that, or the antonym of that, being mistrust, unsteadiness, insecurity, anxiety, and fear. When you're able to move through the world and have such a profound capacity for going, does this feel safe? Does this feel steady? I'm motivated by making sure that everything feels guaranteed and secure, and I have that agreement. You're going to naturally exercise a muscle that allows you to develop the gift of courage. Because the reality is, we often think that courage is somebody doing something just because they can, or just because they have a skill set, or they're really good at it. We have to understand that courage, by definition, requires fear to be present. It is not courage in the absence of fear, it's confidence. Confidence is tied to your skills, not tied to you overcoming a fear. So 6 being so intimately familiar with anxiety, the concern about what could happen in the future, gives them the motivation and the desire to seek guarantees and security, but also gives them this profound gift of being aware of what could happen. So remember, if you're in a 6 space or you're working out of a 6 space and you're trying to find that guarantee, knowing that you don't always or may never completely eliminate the space of fear in your life, you exercising the gift of courage is exactly what you are capable of. And we need that in our world. So thank you for the courage in that. For a 7, you are motivated by having experiences, and experiences often. You can do it by yourself, you can do it with other people, but for the love of God, please let me have new experiences. Don't get me stuck in a place of boredom and in a place of being stuck. This is an idea of being able to go, what does it look like for me to have something new and something novel? So you can end up seeing, why would it be possible for a 7 energy, that childlike enthusiasm, that ability to be excited about what comes next, to be a gift at being able to inspire people, to be able to see the new thing, to be excited about the new thing, to be enthusiastic, and to sell someone on the idea of how fun this next adventure will be. So the motivation of that 7 being connected to experiences and adventures develops the gift of inspiration. But don't forget, as a 7, every once in a while, you inspire so quickly that it's helpful to just slow down and take a deep breath. 5, 6, and 7, head triad, motivated by clarity, guarantees, and experiences. The gifts for 5, insight; 6, courage; and a 7 is inspiration.